All right, so tonight's homework is to do video notes comparing the play and the movie of The Diary of Anne Frank. We watched the movie last week and we've been reading the play throughout. Your standard is to be able to analyze multiple interpretations of a story, drama, or poem, evaluating how each version interprets the source text. And this is CCS, Common Core Standards, 8.RL.7. Make sure you have your heading in the upper right-hand corner, name, class, this is language arts, period and date, and this is your title that you have on your ISN. I'm going to go ahead and just read the questions that I'd like you to answer. And on these, I'm going to actually give you some sentence frames, some words to help you get started on your responses. Okay, please don't write down the question. I'm just going to read it and then give you some sentence frames here. So number one, the question for number one, go ahead and put number one, is how do the images on the screen compare to your own interpretation of the setting? So remember, and it might be a good idea if you don't remember what setting is, to write it out here. Setting is place, time, and it could be like a feeling or mood. If you don't know how to start, I'm going to give you an idea of how to start here. The image is on screen. For example, and if you felt the same way as the author did, the director did in the movie, felt like, yeah, that kind of matches my idea of what the setting would be. You're going to write similarly, maybe. Similarly, I interpreted the setting as. If you felt differently, you might say something like, in contrast, I interpreted the setting as. Okay, so it's just going to depend on whether you agreed with it. You're the same one. Number two, how did the events shown in the movie compare to the events shown in the play? Remember that events you could think of as sort of exchanges between characters. So the events in the movie for example, similarly, remember you're comparing the events in the play are like what, for example. Again, if you don't want to use these sentence frames, you don't have to, but it helps you understand that these are all the things that I'm looking for, how you explain. 3, how do the depictions or the interpretations, how do you interpret the characters? How do the interpretations of the characters from the novel, from the play, compare to the movie's interpretations of the characters? So for example, the play shows, and you might put a character here like, you know, Margot as something. For example, you see I put examples here on each one. I'd like an example here from the play or the movie, depending on what they're asking. And the movie shows the same character as this. For example, number four. Number four is, what differences do you notice between the play and the movie? Just give me a couple differences that you notice. Number five, why do you think these decisions were made by the director? And why do you think decisions were made by the author of the play on what these differences are? When people do adaptations, remember we talked about that, they create their own version of a story, and they do this usually for some reason. So we're looking at, why do you think, what are their motivations? Why do you think they made these differences? So I would take maybe one scene or setting or part in the play or the movie and explain yourself there. On number six, how does the dialogue, remember dialogue is the speaking between people or by themselves. So speaking between characters. These are the things in quotes. Dialogue. So the question is, how does the dialogue between characters in the movie differ from the dialogue in the play? So you might say something like, in the play, the characters seem to speak like ... In the movie, the characters speak like what? For number seven, what was your favorite scene in the movie? I'm writing the question. Don't write that. My favorite scene in the movie was what? And then lastly, number eight, do you think that Anne would have told her story as it was in the play? And how about the movie? What would she have added or removed from either? So I think Anne would or would not she would have added or removed what? This will take you all the way to the end of your paper. Good luck.